Solid B+ student
C's good.
in high school.
That beats me.
All right.
I think we're going.
All this meeting to order. So we'll start with a
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think we better check to make sure that our folks joining in can hear us. Are you all here?
Start with Dick.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh,
You're very low.
Okay, I'll work on it.
There you go. You've got it.
All right.
and Shirley and Brock, do you hear us?
Yes.
Perfect.
Great. Okay. so
Sounds
let's
great.
go And introduce ourselves, starting with Orla.
Jim Borland, Community at Large.
Blair, would you also introduce yourself so they know you're here?
Blair Larson, Community and Economic Development Director for the City of Sweet Home.
Larry Horton, Health Committee member.
John Borgie, Community Services Officer, Sweet Home PD.
Jeff Lynn, Sweet Home Police Department.
Bob Dalton, Health Committee.
Lisa Gorley, Committee Chair. So we have guests on the screen. So Dick, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Dick Knowles, member of the committee.
Thank you. Shirley.
Shirley Bird, Executive Director of FAC.
Thank you. Brock.
Brock Byers, Program Manager for Family Assistance and Resource Center Group, FAC.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on there?
I can tell. I don't see anyone else.
Thank you. So with that done, we move to approval of minutes. We have December 20th, January 7th, and January 17th.
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion for the minutes passes. That brings us to committee reports. Community Health Fair Committee.
Okay, been working with Dick and we made the decision to move forward with doing a health fair this year. We traded back a couple emails on the list of vendors we had, and so we're currently looking at that group and deciding who are the ones we're gonna start contacting to find out if they have an interest to get back to the health fair. Then we've also looked at, where do we hold the health fair? It normally has been in the activity gym at the high school. I did inquire about that location and was told at that time, of course, things have changed since then with the COVID, but the outside area was available, but the inside area at that point was not. Dick and I also went to the Senke Park and looked at that as an outdoor venue there because of the improvements that have been there. It has a large plaza, and we looked at the bridge as well. So we know that that is a possibility as well for an outside. It seemed like kind of a nice fit to do it outside like that. I did get a hold of Angela Clegg at the city to see what was necessary for that. She provided me with an application for the use of Senke Park. So we'll be looking at that and see what we need to do in regards to if we want to choose that location and, get something on the calendar. I think the only thing there is, I looked at that application, I thought, why couldn't it be one page like the high school? It's like 14 pages, I got to trim this thing down. But, there's some fees attached to using that, so that would be something that would be up for discussion, as well as how would we approach the user fees for that. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at, but I think we're both excited about doing something.
Any questions?
Dick, did you have anything on that, Dick?
Well said.
I think the idea of having it outside is a great idea. Have we had one that had rain?
No, we had one that had a lot of heat.
Yeah, can be an issue.
A couple of those.
So, did we have a date yet? I know we've done it before like the second week of August.
Third week of August.
Third week in August, and that's kind of our tentatively, we're thinking is that time frame because the Jamboree is at that point done with. School hasn't quite kicked in yet, so somewhere in that second, third time frame on a Saturday.
Looking here to see what the time frame was.
Just so it's not August 26th. We have a big golf tournament for the Rotary scheduled for
Let's have it at Sankey Park.
no.
Oh, great.
We could have a frisbee toss,
There
maybe.
you go.
Yeah. Frisbee golf.
The 13th or the 20th.
So that's far from the 26th.
So we're safe.
The
So we're safe
13th is
in
the second week, and the 20th is the third. So, yeah, that's what I
We're
was
good.
worried about too.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think the only thing to look at there is look at the list. I think last time we had 47 vendors on it, which if you look at Samaritan, that's about 6 or 7 tables as actually vendors. And we know some of those probably will not be there, well, because they're some of those. So. But again, a good list that we were able to fall back upon and put our feelers out there. I think there will be some interest in getting this thing back out.
So the only concern then that we would have would be getting chairs and tables.
Chairs and tables would be a challenge, because normally the high school, we had all the chairs. It's not saying you couldn't load chairs in the back of a pickup truck and then at that time there too is probably ask vendors if they want to use pop-ups, like the little pop-up tent for shade, because during August, it could get pretty hot out there. And it depends on the layout too, how you do it. If you do it just all on the plaza, or do you line it along the sidewalks where the treat area is, where people could just walk along a sidewalk and, keep our vendors spread out and utilize it that way. So I think the park kind of is an exciting challenge, really.
Mix it up a bit. It'd be nice.
Yeah, people with kids would enjoy it, I'm sure.
Kids would, that's the point Dick and I was talking about. We've got all that new playground equipment here. It's not that the public wouldn't, that's for the public, and children obviously would be thrilled to be on that new playground equipment.
I would think.
Well, and the opportunity we have would be to involve the Parks Department or the Parks Board and the Trails group and some of those that maybe
Have been there in the past.
Yeah.
And I talked to Samaritan, and they really want to be a part of it this year because they really want to kind of showcase the new clinic that's going to be brought here to Sweetholm. And they thought that was a real opportunity to show the public of what this new clinic is going to look like. So,
Yeah.
And
Good
each
idea.
time we've met, as far as the Samaritan board that I'm on, is new services are being added into this new clinic that weren't there before. So, the examination rooms are more. There's up to 20. They're looking at a room set aside for mental health, which is something that we've all been advocating, mental health. Pharmacy, drive-through pharmacy, which wasn't in the original piece, and the possibility of a dentist located there as well, because they understand that dentist is really a lot about your health. So, and the design's changed a bit. Instead of being a rectangular box, it's more of a gold wing with lots of windows. So there'll be, and I think groundbreaking, we were looking at June or July, I think, is our target area to do some groundbreaking there. So fundraising continues, and then one thing, Brand, it's kind of along the healthcare, but she wanted me to let everybody know that their virtual town hall is coming up on the 3rd. And you need to register for that, and you just go to the samhealth.org and click in, and it's free, but they've had some good success with their other virtual, and they're looking at this as an opportunity to get more public input as to what the public is wanting to see there.
Right.
You know, so I think it's a good opportunity.
Exciting. A lot going on. Thank you. Any other questions? So I'm wondering, Western University,
What are you wondering?
well, I'm wondering if we can engage them in another way.
In what way are you thinking?
I don't know.
Oh.
They're so close. They're at the school now. Did that survey. Maybe there's something else to that end that we could work on. You know?
I think one of the things that as a school district we've been talking about is how to involve the different groups in the school and how that because when COVID and all the restrictions leave, how can we move full speed ahead?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that maybe.
Well, the first year they were definitely more hands-on and with the kids. This past year, because of COVID, they did everything, via the internet in some form. And this year, I believe that they're actually working in Mrs. Snyder's anatomy class, is my understanding. And she has probably 20, 25 students that they're working with. So there's also a poster contest that they are doing to get the kids excited about the professions in the health area. Those were supposed to be turned in on Friday. I have not heard how many were actually turned in, but the winner is going to get a $600 computer, and second place is going to get something like a notebook, and then anyone that turned in anything is going to get some kind of an acknowledgement prize. So it'll be interesting to see how many turned them in. The judging will be done on April the 4th. Actually, the kids in the school are voting on who they think should be first place, second place, third place. And then there's actually a judging panel that'll be judging them on April the 4th, with awards being put after that. So it's a way of just trying to generate some interest with the kids and have them start thinking about careers in the medical field.
So I haven't mentioned this to you, but is there any way that we can hook into the nursing school and get them doing some of the same type of?
Di Lacy had talked about that a year or so ago, and she was going to pursue it, and I've not heard a thing from her. So I'll check with her and see if she's done any more with that.
That's another group of untapped mentors.
Yeah, the LVCC.
Yeah.
Well, and just before COVID, the last health fair we had, the young med students came over to that and participated. I think that was a huge success, having them there in the lab coats and stuff. I want to make sure we remember to invite them to attend this one. So, and then it was Dr. Monsanto that was coming out to the little kids, the kinders and stuff, and bringing their med kit and stuff.
Came out to the classrooms.
Maybe next year, when we hit the fall, if things looks good, maybe we could make sure that that type of engagement's happening again. I think it's really a good idea. So
That's the other program that is through Samaritan.
is that Samaritan? No.
Yeah.
Samaritan.
Yeah, that's a Samaritan.
Samaritan did that, but I mean, the medical students were
The ones
group
that were
that
running.
came out and
Yeah.
actually
Did the work.
classrooms for
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
So set those seeds a little earlier.
Yeah, they were pretty excited about it.
Well, the college students, the doctors to be, they very much enjoy the program. All of them that were involved last year are involved again this year, when they're only supposed to be involved 1 year because their second year gets so intense. Well, all of them said, look, this is such a great program. We want to be part of it for 2 years. And then they brought on other students as well. So
That's amazing.
it seems to be a pretty successful program that everybody is getting something out of it. So.
Well, Mr. City School Board member, do they, bring in like a police officer to read to kids in the library and a firefighter to read to kids in the library, all in their little uniforms?
Well, we have had, over the years, we've had the Dr. Seuss Day, and what was the other one we had, Sean? You remember? You probably went out and reported on them.
Well, a lot of you did read during Dr. Seuss's
Yeah,
day.
and so, yeah, we've done that, the mayor, the,
Yeah, okay,
Police
but my
chief,
question is, do we do it
firefighter.
annually?
yes,
We do,
yes,
okay, because that kind of engagement is also a career day for these kids.
yeah, it is,
Yeah.
it is.
And it could be as simple as reading books. So does that all happen at the same time, or does it happen periodically through the year?
Well, there's two different ones. I can't remember what the other one was. There was two. One was Dr. Seuss Day, and then there was another day, library day or reading day or something. That
Yeah.
they did
There's been days where we've given out books to all the kids and read to them, and they were allowed to pick the books that they wanted.
yeah. So there's,
You guys
Well,
are very aware of that one.
Yeah, well, I know AFT has a new partnership with First Book that they will host literacy nights and supply all the books if the superintendent simply asks.
and that might be something that
Just
I
FYI,
wanted to get the information from Lisa, because I wanted to bring that up at
Well-
Rotary, that it's something that's ties into our book
Sure.
thing, and if AFT will be a partner in it with us, and they'll do all the pre-planning and supply all the books, we just have to have some people there to,
well, that's not what he said.
that's kind
Well,
of,
do we need to contact the superintendent, or does that organization contact the superintendent?
I need to talk to Velma and put it in her lap and let her. run with
Okay.
it. That way we don't have to.
Yeah, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, so.
I liked my view better, or we don't have to do
I
that.
think it's more of a partnership approach.
Oh,
So, but yeah, all the books are provided. So anyway, so we're moving on. Homeless Action Committee.
Yeah, I sit in the back and I just listen because all of you seem to be running everything, so I just wait to hear what is going on. It changes almost weekly, so.
broccoli.
I know Brock, I asked Brock to be sure and be on the phone tonight in case there was stuff that he and Blair wanted to address. I keep seeing emails from Brock that says we are, I think he said 1 foot away, or, awfully close to having things getting wrapped up. And I guess I would ask Blair and Brock, where are we in regards to MOUs? Where are we in regards to property from the county? And, I think we're all just kind of waiting for these last minute things to get hopefully tied up.
Brock, you want to go first, or shall I start us off?
Go ahead and start us off, and then I can fill in if you'd like.
Okay. So, there's a couple different categories, I guess, of efforts. One, when it comes to actually to the county donating the property, the partition has been approved by the city, and the city has signed off on an easement across the city's 24th Avenue property. The county still has to sign off on receiving that easement, and that partition has to be recorded. All of that gets recorded together. So that's waiting for county approval now.
And it was submitted Friday evening. I hand delivered it to Rachel, their property manager, and it will be in their hands. I'm not sure if it'll be in there tomorrow or the next circle, but anyway, they have it.
Yeah, the county has it. It has to be signed off on by all 3 commissioners, and so they likely need to have it brought up in one of their meetings. So that's the easement agreement. The county also is asking for a separate IGA, intergovernmental agreement with the city for the essentially the costs associated with the easement into the property. And that is not necessarily something that has to be done before they can donate the property, but it appears to be what they want to make sure gets done before they will donate the property. It seems that the county is a little anxious about potential costs for their RV, planned RV dump. And they want to make sure they know who's paying for what prior to donating the property. So that there is a draft IGA that the county has given to staff, and that will go before the city council at the next council meeting on March 8th. And so once that is, assuming the council approves that or directs staff on how it should be modified and gives some authority to sign that agreement with or without modifications, it will also need to be passed by the county commissioners as well. I don't know if my feeling is they will probably wait for the city to pass it before they take it to the county commissioners, because county commissioners like to know that this is something that's up signed off. So that is in the works. And at the same time, Brock has gotten me a copy of their desired MOU with the city, essentially the understanding that kind of a document that encapsulates what the relationship is between the city and FAC facility that we're planning. And right now, the city attorney is reviewing that. So Brock gave me the things that FAC would like to have in there. We probably will have some recommended changes from city staff, and that I'll try to go over with Brock and proceed, to make sure nothing's a problem. That'll need to be brought before the city council, and then we're hoping that, again, on the March 8th meeting, that comes before the council as well. But that's going to be a busy couple of days for me and for city attorney.
Very good. It'd be great if they could both go in on March 8th.
Brock, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope. And then Blair may change. I had difficulty wording because I actually don't have the details regarding the quote. I put it in quotes, the 50,000, and I didn't want to assume whatever with that. So there may be some additional clarification that Blair and his team will put behind that. And, it's basically, we don't want FAC to dictate how Sweet Home decides its funding for either this initiative or I've heard marijuana money brought up, various things. And so, we're definitely appreciative of a gift. I don't know if it's our gift or if it's for the city's use of that gift. So there's still some wording around that I think needs to be done and can be reviewed. But I think, I just captured the basic items that were at least voted on or were desired. So things like the 7-person committee is in there, and the annex is in there, and disposal services are in there. And I think that was it for now.
I don't think the city intended the money from the weed money to be a gift. I think they intended it to be used as expenditures.
I believe so, but I think the city should decide what those expenditures should be, not FAC.
Yes.
Brock, likelihood, but the only thing that needs to be in the MOU is an acknowledgement of what the city is contributing toward the effort. Doesn't need to be an explanation of where the money comes from or anything like that. But essentially what the city is committing to pay for.
I agree.
Is what would be in there.
Perfect.
Brock, could you also, I know you told me it was either yesterday or today that the trailer has made some progress towards getting that.
Well, in regards to, we do have a shower trailer. It is a 30 or 35 foot Fema shower trailer. It's a 6 shower trailer, and we've sent it to Andrews Cooper in Corvallis. They're a mechanical engineering firm. They do the wild and wonderful for a lot of companies, but they are modifying it. to basically create 2 single showers. We're taking out 2 of the showers, and then the other 2 showers will be considered family showers, as well as making it ADA compliant. And we've that's in progress. And then we had a Corvallis group that will be helping donate some money towards that for us. So that's underway. Let's see what else. There was one other item. We've ordered some of the materials and are working with the high school in construction of the huts. And I'm meeting to hopefully order all the materials tomorrow, so that the high school can continue, as well as Patrick Rogers, who is our lead for construction of the huts. But we kind of are taking a multi-prong approach. One is we're supporting a high school program to do it, which we may create a scholarship and just do an ongoing program to create these huts as a revenue generator, for the high school as well as us for the future, for other communities that may want these particular huts. But also they're committing to doing that, but we need to make sure they have all the materials in time so they can do them this term. And then Patrick Rogers is leading the effort for the community portion. So we have Rotary that is volunteering to help. We have a lot of individuals that are volunteering to help. And so we'll have some build days. And now knowing that hopefully we'll have the property soon, we'll be able to set up we have 2 community tents, 20 by 40 foot tents that we can do some construction under and such. So we're starting on the builds already. Let's see, what other piece? Boy.
Yeah, the high school kids
As a
started last
community
week,
health
so
item also, we did get the harm reduction grant for Lynn County. And we're learning what additional training, outreach activities that includes. So this is needle exchange, it's condoms and harm reduction aspects with condoms anyway. First aid supplies. Shirley may have to fill me in for a few other things. There's training. There's a couple other aspects as well. So that's a really important one for all of Lynn County. So as FAC figures that one out, it's not just for Sweet Home, but we're doing this for all of Lynn County. And then just working on some more grants for not only this operation, but others. And as soon as the property closes, then I'll be hitting up some of our private donors.
Thank you. Blair, do you have anything else?
No.
That's my report. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brock, for
Brock.
all the work you do on that. That was really exciting about everything you and Larry both.
A lot of work getting.
Yep.
So, thank you, everybody. So, we don't seem to have any old business or any new business, and that brings us to the end of the agenda. Does anybody have anything that should be reported? Maybe we'll go around the room. Roy?
Just that there was a whole bunch of lights came in today, and I figured out it was 75,000 feet of lights.
Are we gonna be able to secure the rest of them? Because I'm kind of like greedy right now, so we can light the whole town up.
Well,
There's no place to store them.
We don't have a place to store them, but I asked Melody today. I said, Melody, we don't have a place to put them. But there's an individual that owns a piece of property that could store them. If you want to contact them, maybe they can put them there.
The hard part that I would see is putting them up and taking them down. There,
And they would have to be,
how many boxes of 25 feet lengths did we get?
3,000
3,000 boxes
today.
today, and that's not even half of them. That's
Yeah.
50 some odd out of 130.
53 out of 130.
So,
1.5 times that much. We have more if we want it.
and I already heard that from city staff that they were grumbling, that's not for us to put up, is it? Well, hopefully not. Hopefully we can find people that will help us put them up and take them down.
Is it something that a business, we could say, here's your lights?
We would love to
Come
do
get
that.
it?
Yes.
That's what we're gonna try and do, but first of all, we have to get our Christmas committee together again and talk about what we want to do with the lights, and then figure out a plan, and then we'll start going out and contacting the different businesses about coming in and seeing how many boxes of lights they want.
It's a lot of lights.
There's a lot of lights.
It's amazing.
So are you going to attempt to get more lights, or do you want to call Lebanon and say, hey, you guys want some lights?
I don't believe they were offered to Lebanon, Lisa.
Okay,
They
just,
were offered to Sweet Home,
okay,
and it was a reason.
okay. I will step out of that then.
Sounds like you better.
Yeah. All right, well, it's kind of exciting, because that was the plan, is to not paint the town red, but light it up, so.
Well, there's a whole bunch of lights.
You can only put 2 strands together.
Oh, really?
That's 50 feet. So it's every 50 feet, you're gonna need a plug somewhere. So I can see that becoming a real issue. They are not the incandescent, well, I guess they are incandescents. They're not LEDs.
Oh.
Which means that they use a little bit more energy than an LED would use. They have 1,000-hour life on each bulb. Now,
It wasn't just their store clean out of what they had, this is something they didn't sell?
No, these were for a huge presentation that they were gonna do. And they never did the presentation because these are still in the original boxes.
They are.
And if you looked at the presentation, it was an entire city, looked like, that came out.
My idea when I saw the picture of what they were using them, how they were using them, the Christmas committee talked about using the park next door and decorating that up and having Santa Claus in there and having little huts and gingerbreads. And I could see that park getting really decorated very nicely if different groups would say, we'll take 10 boxes and figure out how to use them. You take 10 boxes and figure out how to use them. I could see decorating that up really nicely, as well as storefronts
The
along.
biggest issue we have is power.
Power is gonna be an issue.
Well, if the storefronts were able to wrap them around the inside of the windows with the short ones, and we could look long-term for ones that would be for the outsides, would that help?
Oh, these are indoor outdoor.
They're indoor-outdoor bulbs. We have 10 posts down the center of town. Look really good, having those wrapped all the way up and decorate those 10 posts. I think there's a plug at every post.
Yes.
So that would be, easy, and I'm sure that
And
a
you
group in town would be willing to do
have all
that.
the overhangs coming down through town that could be.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can do it. It's gonna take a lot of work, and storing them is the issue, I think.
I think once we check them out to businesses, they can just keep them.
They can keep them.
That's the
Exactly.
way to go.
Yeah.
So, and I think, well, they won't work for the Christmas parade, will they? I don't know what kind of lights they use on those.
LEDs.
If you had a generator on your trailer, you could do it.
Yeah.
But it'd take a generator.
And
Larry, I don't know of any homeowners ever stuck just 2 stands together.
I always stick 3 together because that's what it recommends. You stick 4 and you start blowing.
I was also wondering about the Christmas cards. Can they be put around the outside of the Christmas cards and plugged into a home?
Well, not all of them have plugins, but if somebody wants to do that, I'm sure we have 8x4s, 8, 16, 8 is 24 feet around a Christmas card. So, yeah, they would go around a Christmas card.
Well, I mean, if you did something like what Lebanon does with the park there, as you cross the, they light that whole entire park up.
Yeah, it'd be great.
You could see something like that at Sankey Park. If one year you elected to just put all the Christmas cards there along the walkways, just light that park up, bridge and all, then that would be a main attraction. Central place like that, to see a display like they do in Corvallis,
Well,
a stadium or whatever,
like Larry said, we have the park beside us. We also have the museum and we have Clover Park as well, which would be high profile places to do like.
But again, plug-ins is the key.
It's true.
It's gonna take electricity.
So I talked with Norm's Electric, and he's supposed to be getting with me about the museum
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah, I'll go down and deal with that one.
I also suggested that maybe we clean out the room next to where the signs are. Half of that room is just filled with junk.
It is.
And I think we could clean that out, and we may have to move some that are already in the room over to there.
Yeah, and there's some things in there that can be taken out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of big metal equipment that I don't know what it is.
It's
That'd be something that
it's
Greg
the
could look at.
compressor for
Baby trees
the trees,
Yeah,
which
could be
we're
sold.
never going to use again.
I wouldn't think.
Well, I think even the big doors could be sold. I don't know. There's a lot going on there that's, anyway, all right, that's another conversation.
It is.
So we are at the point of adjournment.
No, you didn't go around the room. I was the first.
Fine. Larry, you got anything you want to add?
No, I've talked enough.
Chief?
Always have some things,
Okay, share away.
I'll try to make it short, but one of the things, looking back at individuals that are displaced, and it's been a long journey, to get where we're at today with the homeless, and you're almost to the finish line, but you're not quite there yet. It makes me look back at one of the other pieces of the goals that we talked about during this whole thing was transitional housing. So I don't want us to lose focus on that topic, because at some point that's going to come into play. And I think it's important to kind of keep thinking transitional housing, because if it's taken this long to get where we're at today with just an outreach type facility, transitional housing is going to take a lot. So I think that's important. It's definitely something I've got down. I've got some ideas around that. I won't discuss it now, but I think it's very doable. And the other thing I look back to is dealing with, I went back and looked at the city's natural disaster mitigation plan. And, it deals with floods and volcanoes and wildfires and that. And the one thing that I look back in that is there's really nothing that talks about natural disaster from extreme temperatures and cold climate. And I know 14 years ago, I wrote such a plan for Weyerhaeuser Company because it was something we needed to know how hot weather, 100 degrees over, or freezing weather affected the performance of employees, and what could we do to take that degree of stress off them during those times. It wasn't a huge plan, but it was enough that we put into some place some things that was very measurable and doable very quickly. And I think when we talk about extreme temperatures, it doesn't affect just only the individuals that are on the street, but it's families within our community that, if you've got extreme hot weather, seniors and that get pounded by hot weather and extremes. And the same way with cold, what do you do if you lose the power and people are sitting around in cold houses? So it goes beyond just a group of people that we're looking at that are exposed on the street. It's a whole community. So I think some thought may be put towards that down the road, is including a component like that. I went out and looked at some other cities, and other cities are adopting those types of steps in there. Kansas City was one of the most recent ones where they really addressed what is it like at that cold temperature. And it's not like we're going to all go out and buy a wood stove for everybody in the city of Sweet Home, but put some measures in. What do you do when those people really become vulnerable? So anyway, that's what I had.
listen,
We forgot.
on that, I was on the original group. I was on 2 governors' boards whenever we started doing templates on what you're talking about there, Bob. And Interagency and Hazardous Communication Council, and then we had a State Emergency Response Commission, which actually administered the stuff. You had one that made them, one that administered. And we did templates for all that stuff, but some of the things that are coming up now were not some of the templates that we made. I talked with the, I believe, Chief, you guys are coming up for audit here pretty soon, aren't you, on your
Hazard mitigation.
hazardous mitigation?
The natural hazard mitigation plan?
Yeah, aren't you coming up for audit right away?
We just did it.
We just renewed it, or just.
Just redid it. We actually had a consultant assist with the,
So can we get a copy of that?
Should be on our website.
It's on,
The new one, the new,
well, I don't know.
Yeah,
That was about 300 and some pages.
we can confirm that, but I'm sure it's the new one that we just had completed.
The new one is up there, I know that.
It was fairly new, but I.
so we'll see what's on there, because that is some,
Yeah, do you know if anything is in there dealing with extreme temperatures?
Very limited. We had some discussions on that, but very limited is in the plan itself.
But it's coming because there's been many conversations about heat effects and smoke effects on workers in outdoor conditions and indoor conditions. And I've been able to sit in on a few of those, but I haven't had time to sit on a lot of them. And so, but they are existing, and it really brought it home when my friend has horses, and she said that not to run a horse for 30 days after they were exposed to the smokes that we had. And because it's difficult for their lungs. And I thought, but we don't have any kind of data like that for humans. You know, working really hard and going out, being strenuous and going for a run or whatever you need to do after having that exposure. And that was actually, we discussed that in one of these meetings. And so if you're interested in that, I can share with you the people that are having those conversations. Anyway, but as far as transitional housing, I was also in another meeting recently, and we were talking about grant funding that's available, and it was an unusual source. So I was looking into it and finding out more about it, but I can share with you a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Because you may have time to.
And there's a lot of agencies out there, that have funding available. They've kind of shifted their direction somewhat as to what they want to target. The Ford Foundation, some of these bigger foundations out there are saying this transitional housing, affordable housing is an initiative. A lot of them are kind of shifting in that direction. So I think that's why I say don't forget about transitional housing, because if there's funding available, then
Well, this
put
is
some thought towards that. So I think it's a good deal.
Sorry, I hate to.
No, that's fine.
Have that habit. They were talking about rural communities specifically. And so when they start talking about transitional housing grants and things, that got my attention. So anyway, with
you got
that,
3 on the,
three what?
3 people.
Oh, Dick, do you have something you'd like to share?
Nothing from me. Interesting conversation though. Thanks.
Thank you. Shirley, do you have something you'd like to share?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much for letting me listen.
Brock? Brock, do you have something you'd like to share?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Okay, thank you. See, no other business.
All right.
So, yeah, we have that interagency and